Welcome to the Liberating River, where spiritual freedom meets soul-aligned wealth. I'm your guide, Wanda F. Nesbit. Let's break free, build boldly, and live fully together. Part 3. Why reclaiming inner authority matters. Listen, reclaiming your inner authority isn't optional. It is essential. You do not have the option not to get in touch with your inner authority. If you do not, it is detrimental. Detrimental to your purpose, to your freedom, to your self-love, to your wholeness. Without inner authority, you live under constant manipulation, whether that manipulation is, from external or internal strings. And as a result, what's going to happen? You end up living someone else's faith and life instead of your own. But with that, we can change it. You build spiritual confidence. That's why it's important. Trusting your ability to discern. You experience direct intimacy with God, not filtered through others. You make decisions with peace and clarity, not anxiety or shame. By you reclaiming your inner authority, it is not just a spiritual awakening. Trust me, it's not just that. Inner authority affects more than that. Every part of your life. Emotionally, you feel free. You feel in tune. You have a greater innate understanding that goes beyond surface. Financially, you stop being swayed by external influences and by internal fear-based messages. You know those messages. If I don't give, I'll be cursed. Or if I leave this place, I won't be with God. When you reclaim your authority, you reclaim the power to live boldly, joyfully, and fully because you're connected to the source of life itself. There are many sacred scrolls and influential people that talk about having a wilderness experience, blocking out outside noise, blocking out internal noise. The first step in reconnecting to your inner authority is blocking out noise. Personally, I have been in the wilderness and multiple mountaintops and a lot of other experiences. How? Well, to be transparent with you, I stopped going to church. I've stopped going to church since 2015. I told you a little bit about my upbringing and my journey living as a Christian. But as I mentioned in the previous episode, I started questioning. And during the initial state, I removed myself from the systematic and programmatic nature of going to church. I allowed myself and forced myself to have mountaintop experiences with God. I felt the need of that. Based on what I'd learned through the years going to church, I wanted to truly experience God. Since, as it has been taught, God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. I wanted to have my Damascus road. I wanted my burning bush. I wanted those type of experiences to know assuredly I am in relationship with whom I claim to be in a relationship with and worshiping. As I question things, as I mentioned, working on getting my knowledge, I realized I've been limited. because the sermons, the Bible studies, and the various teachings were all based on limited vantage points. When you look at your cell phone, right? What do you normally see? You only see what's directly in front of you. I see a screen. You see lens. Should you adjust your angle, you will see a new dynamic. And having that new dynamic adds a different perspective. By releasing myself from the institution of religion, my eyes and concept was able to develop based on the new angles that were always there. You might see the lens, I see the screen, but doesn't mean the lens wasn't always there. Think about it. So, no, I do not attend church. However, I thoroughly work on building a relationship with God. And by doing so, that opened up the opportunity to reclaim my inner authority. Let's take a moment and have an affirmation break. Say this with me. The Spirit of God dwells within me. I trust the divine voice within. Part 4, practical steps to reclaiming inner authority. Let's get practical. This is the meat, or how some would say, where the rubber hits the road, right? Some of you would not be able to handle the practical step I took personally. Let's be honest. Some of you would not mentally be ready to stop going to church or whatever formalized religious community you attend. I get that. It was extremely hard for me, but I came to a place to not care about anyone else's opinion about my journey. So I am not even encouraging you to be as forward as I was, as brute as I was, as I am. But if you're gully, do it. I'm not even gonna say it because it is, and it has been refreshing. Do it if you feel it, do it. If not, that's okay. And for you, here I have added practical steps that you can use to rebuild and reclaim your authority. So get ready. Step 1, silence external noise. I will always say that. Shut it out. And with this piece, it's a little different because what I'm going to tell you is take 5 minutes a day to disconnect. No sermons, no podcasts, no outside voices, no music, no streaming, nothing. Just pure quietness. This is how you make space to hear what's already within. And I already know this step, I already know this step is going to be extremely hard because guess what? We've already been conditioned to be entertained. We do not like to sit with ourselves, but this is critical. Eventually, as I have done, I would suggest building up to 30 minutes. I said eventually. You'll get there if you stick with it. Step 2, listen to your spirit. Honestly, you have to listen to your spirit. Listen to that unctioning. Journal what rises when you're quiet. Write it out. You're not writing to judge yourself or even interpret right now. Just write what comes to you. Again, do not judge your thoughts, just write. That moment is often the sacred moment when spirit whispers to you, sharing whatever you need to hear and know at that time. Again, do not judge it and do not even try to interpret it because that information from spirit will come in pieces. So you might see it and read it and feel confused or you feel like it doesn't make sense. That's okay. Sometimes it doesn't. Allow it to just be on that piece of paper. You're not trying to decipher the message. You just want to get the message out. Step 3, test the fruit. Test it. Scriptures and number of sacred scrolls talk about um trying things, trying the spirit, testing the spirit. Test the fruit. If what you hear brings peace, clarity, and love, that's the spirit. I don't care if it is a message of warning or excitement. The Spirit of God does not bring on shame, confusion, or fear. That's not of God. So if you need to tune up a little bit and adjust your monitor and your gauge, do it. And I'm talking about that spiritual gauge. Do it. The Spirit always brings clarity. So make sure you work on that so you can hear clearly. Step 4, start small. Practice inner authority in daily choices. Build the muscle. Build the muscle. Strengthen yourself first. Do it in the small things so you can trust yourself when it comes to the big things. I built my muscle when I decided to go to the dealership, to the car dealership. And as a result, I was blessed and someone else was blessed. We are new to this space. Inner authority is not taught, has not been taught. So now we must retrain our own being to trust the innate spiritual instincts and nudges. It's a foreign land. So be gentle with yourself. Step 5, build a supportive community. Stay around people who affirm your inner voice, not to silence it. Cut off people who needs to be cut off. That's either friends, families, it doesn't matter. They will not understand your approach to awakening your inner authority. Not because they can't understand it, but it's because they have never awakened their inner authority. So they can't relate. So you have to surround yourself with individuals who are on the same path. It might not be the same journey, but on the same path. Step 6, practice gentle discernment. Ask questions. That's basically what that means. Ask questions. Simple questions I have asked and continue to ask. How am I feeling right now? Am I anxious or nervous? And if you didn't know, being anxious and being nervous, those are two different things. Figure it out. Figure out how you feel in the moment. Is this my fear talking or is this spirit guiding me? You have to ask questions. Like I mentioned in episode 4, breaking free from fear based obedience, you have to till the soil of your mind. It is the only way you will get nourishment. Asking questions is the motion of tilling. So till. Let's take a moment for a journal, right? I want you to consider this and ask yourself, where have I silenced my inner knowing? And how can I begin honoring it again? I'm going to say it again. Where have I silenced my inner knowing? And how can I begin honoring it again? In addition, you got two things you got to do right here, right? So do something spiritual, do a spiritual exercise. I do this almost daily in some variation, some version of it. I do this pretty much daily. Each morning, I say, you should do this before you do anything. Say, Spirit, I trust you in me today. What do I need to know? And I'm serious about it, whether you just say it in your head or say it out loud. Say, Spirit, I trust you in me today. What do I need to know? Then purposefully take in deep breaths. I usually do 3 deep breaths and I listen for what comes out. This is a simple, light way to start your day, and it is very powerful. Part 5, life after reclaiming. Here's what happens when you reclaim your inner authority. You no longer live for the constant outside validation. You seriously don't. I do not need outside validation. I do not. Does God provide it? Of course he does. Of course he does. God provides it through various signs and wonders. He'll give me confirmation through a song, other people, a sign, literally like a sign or just something that I happened upon because I don't believe in coincidences that I happened upon or happened to hear. It's amazing how God will confirm things, whether it's a confirmation of something good or bad, doesn't matter. A warning or something pleasant, it doesn't matter. But he'll confirm it, especially if he knows that you need that confirmation. So, no, I don't live for outside validation anymore. If I need confirmation, God will provide. Another thing is your choices feel more anchored and peaceful. As I mentioned before, when you tap into the spirit realm, you don't feel confused, anxious, or restless. You honestly don't. There is a peace, and I don't know where, I don't know why, I don't know how, but there's a peace that rests within you, and it's a calm, and you already know, like, no, this was right. And of course, you walk with courage because you know God is guiding you. Because you put in the work. That's how I'm going to say it. You invested the time to build a relationship with God. You can trust the spirit. I think it's similar to what we do for platonic and romantic relationships. If that frequency is off, that relationship is off. But if that frequency is on, your relationship with your platonic or your romantic um, individuals are on point. Same thing with God. If the frequency between you and God is not staticky anymore, you're going to feel courageous. You're going to feel good. And that's the outcome God always wanted. Financially, well, you already know your perspective is going to change. Your sense of financial understanding will evolve. You'll begin to see money as a tool and not a God. You will give with joy and not fear. And of course, you will save and invest with wisdom and not anxiety. You will start living life as someone who carries dominion, not as someone waiting for permission. This is authentic faith, not borrowed, not bound, but lived freely. So, family, let's recap. What did we talk about today? We talked about inner authority. Inner authority is your God given ability to discern truth. That's all it is. It is your God given authority to discern truth. We lost it when we started believing voices that God never gave us. Similar to, in the same nature as Adam saying, I am naked. And then what did God say? Who told you that? And of course, reclaiming authority. Reclaiming authority means remembering the breath of life is already in you. Remembering the dominion spoken over you by God and walking as more than a grasshopper in your own eyes. Do not play yourself small. Find who you really are. Here's your reflection for this week. Where in my life am I still doubting my inner voice? And how can I begin to honor it again? I'm going to say it again. Where in my life am I still doubting my inner voice? And how can I begin to honor it again? Listen, share this episode with someone ready to reclaim their inner authority. Leave a review, tag me with your takeaways, and stay tuned for liberated living resources. And let me leave you with this. Your inner authority is not rebellion. It's recognition. Recognition that God trusted you enough to breathe his spirit into you. Trust that spirit. It will never lead you astray. Until next time, keep flowing in freedom. Thanks for flowing with us on the Liberating River. Subscribe, share, and come back next week for more wisdom, wealth, and alignment. Stay free, stay grounded, stay bold.